It was supposed to be the next Gatorade, the next BodyArmor, the next billion-dollar buyout from Coca-Cola or Pepsi. But fast forward just 3 years later, and Prime Hydration, the ultra-hyped sports drink launched by Logan Paul and KSI, is crashing harder than anyone could have imagined. What happened to the drink of the future? Why are Prime bottles gathering dust on Walmart clearance shelves? And most importantly, is this the end of Logan and KSI's billion-dollar dream? Stay tuned, because what we're about to uncover involves lawsuits, plummeting sales, celebrity manipulation, and a complete failure to deliver on the hype. You won't believe how fast this empire fell and who's scrambling to cover it up. Prime's explosive start, the perfect storm of hype. Prime's launch in early 2022 was a masterclass in influencer marketing. Logan Paul and KSI, two of the most followed creators on the planet, didn't just team up for a business venture, they turned their personal brands into a global marketing engine. What made Prime stand out instantly was how perfectly it tapped into their audience, young, loyal, and obsessed with whatever their favorite creators endorsed. When Prime first hit the shelves, it wasn't just a drink. It was a cultural event. People lined up outside stores, fought over stock, and paid absurd prices on resale markets. It wasn't uncommon to see social media flooded with videos of kids showing off their collection of different flavors. In the UK, where KSI has an especially massive following, the craze turned into chaos. Prime was even banned in some schools after students started reselling it in classrooms for inflated prices. Every bottle felt like a status symbol, not because of the ingredients, but because of the association. Drinking Prime meant you were in the loop, part of a movement. It was bright, bold, and backed by personalities with massive reach, and the timing was perfect. With the rise of short-form content, every new flavor drop, limited edition release, or promotional stunt went viral instantly. But behind the curtain, this rocket-like growth came with a hidden risk. It was built entirely on hype. There wasn't time for trial and error. There was no slow, sustainable rollout. Prime skipped the quiet buildup that most successful beverage brands go through and launched straight into the spotlight. And that spotlight, as we'll see, eventually became a pressure cooker they weren't ready for. The master plan: outshine Gatorade and get acquired. Prime's endgame was never a mystery. From the very beginning, Logan Paul was clear. This wasn't just a fun side project. It was a calculated strategy to build a high-growth brand, inflate its value through visibility and hype, and then sell it to a beverage giant for a massive payday. The blueprint was modeled after past success stories. Brands like BodyArmor and Vitamin Water had proven that if you could build a drink with enough momentum, companies like Coca-Cola would eventually step in with a buyout offer. Logan and KSI aimed to fast-track that process. Instead of spending a decade slowly building brand trust and loyalty, they relied on their global fame to push Prime straight into the mainstream. But it wasn't just about making a good product. It was about dominating market share. They wanted Prime to be seen as a legitimate competitor to industry leaders like Gatorade, Powerade, and BodyArmor. And to do that, they didn't just release a drink, they built a narrative. Every public appearance, podcast, interview, and social post was strategically laced with Prime branding. From boxing press conferences to YouTube vlogs, the drink was everywhere. Logan even integrated Prime into his personal milestones. When his wife announced her pregnancy, fans noticed the product carefully placed in the background. When he launched a new food brand, Prime was featured prominently alongside the snacks. It was all designed to keep the drink in the conversation. But here's the critical difference. Those other legacy brands didn't build themselves on personality-driven campaigns. They built on consistent product value and broad consumer trust. Prime, on the other hand, became so tied to Logan and KSI's personas that it struggled to develop an independent identity. And without that independence, any controversy surrounding its founders could and did impact the brand itself. To attract a $5 billion acquisition, Logan would need Prime to show steady, reliable growth. But rapid expansion, limited product differentiation, and growing backlash would soon throw that plan into serious doubt. Lawsuits, backlash, and bottling disasters. Prime's troubles didn't just come from fading hype, they came from the courtroom too. One of the most alarming developments was a $67 million lawsuit filed by Refresco, a major bottling partner. Prime had reportedly agreed to a large manufacturing deal, only to back out when sales projections began collapsing. That left Refresco with unfulfilled commitments and serious financial loss, and it exposed just how fragile Prime's rapid growth really was. At the same time, Prime was facing increasing scrutiny from health advocates and regulatory agencies. There were headlines questioning the safety of certain ingredients, the accuracy of their nutrition labels, and even speculation about compounds found in some batches. Whether or not these claims were substantiated, the damage to the brand's image was already done. For a company looking to be acquired by a major beverage conglomerate,
get to the formula again and kind of round this out. So we have, again, the basis of the whole thing is essentially that this is not an actual electrolyte formula.
This was the worst kind of press. Legal battles, health concerns, uncertainty, that's not what Coca-Cola or Pepsi want to see when they consider investing billions. Prime's marketing stayed bold and confident, but behind that glossy exterior, the legal and reputational challenges were piling up, and investors were starting to look elsewhere. The great sales crash. From bestseller to bargain bin. In the early days, Prime couldn't stay on the shelves. Demand was sky high, bottles were being resold at triple the price, and every restock became a mini media event. But in just 1 year, the narrative flipped completely. Sales in the UK dropped from £112 million to just £32 million, a staggering 70% decline. Profit? Down 90%. In the United States, 2024 began with sales dropping more than 50% in just the first half of the year. This kind of drop wasn't just unexpected, it was catastrophic. Retailers responded quickly. Bottles of Prime began showing up in discount bins and clearance sections. The once exclusive product was now overstocked and underwhelming, and the psychological shift was massive. When a product moves from premium to clearance, customers lose interest, even if nothing about the drink itself has changed. What's more, even Prime's regular buyers started pulling back. Consumption dropped across the board, suggesting that the brand wasn't just losing hype, it was losing its core audience. Whether due to oversaturation, flavor fatigue, or simply moving on to the next trend, people just stopped caring. And for a brand built entirely on momentum, that's fatal. The branding mistake. Who was Prime even for? One of the most overlooked issues behind Prime's downfall is branding confusion. From the beginning, Prime marketed itself as a hydration drink, but it never clearly defined who it was made for. Was it meant for athletes seeking performance recovery, adults looking for low-calorie drinks, or teens who follow Logan Paul and KSI online? The answer was all of the above. And that's where the problem started. Successful beverage brands have a clear identity. Prime, on the other hand, kept shifting gears. Some ads showed athletes, others featured influencers. Then came flavored sticks, snacks, and new drink lines. But instead of strengthening the brand, these expansions diluted it. It became harder and harder for consumers to understand what Prime really stood for. Worse yet, the drink's entire image remained tied to Logan and KSI. That worked for getting attention, but it limited growth. If someone didn't follow those creators or had moved on from their content, Prime no longer had appeal. A product built on personality might go viral, but unless it creates its own legacy, it won't last. Prime never became more than the faces behind it. And once the novelty wore off, so did the loyalty. Oversaturation and flavor fatigue. Too much, too fast. As Prime tried to keep the hype alive, it fell into a trap that many brands face during rapid growth. Oversaturation. Instead of refining the product and building long-term value, they launched flavor after flavor, product after product, from hydration drinks to energy blends, stick packs, snacks, and endless collaborations. It felt like something new was being announced every week, but instead of exciting customers, it wore them out. The limited edition feel that made Prime special at launch slowly vanished. What was once rare became routine, and when everything is must-have, nothing really is. That constant cycle of new releases created fatigue among even their most loyal fans. Younger audiences, especially the kind that originally boosted Prime, are known for shifting tastes quickly, and Prime didn't just lose its novelty, it became forgettable. Social media buzz died down. Unboxing videos and reviews dropped off. The product was still there, but the excitement wasn't. In a saturated market filled with trendy drinks, Prime stopped feeling exclusive, and once that image fades, regaining it is incredibly hard. Health experts speak out. Is Prime even that good? One of the final nails in Prime's brand image came from health professionals, and they didn't hold back. While Logan and KSI pitched Prime as a better-for-you option, nutrition experts began analyzing its formula, and what they found didn't live up to the claims. Prime was marketed as a hydration drink, but many professionals pointed out that it wasn't a true electrolyte blend. In fact, some critics claimed it was more of a flavored water with added sweeteners than a performance-based recovery drink. Comparisons with products like Liquid IV exposed major differences. While Prime boasted about lower sugar, experts noted that it lacked the essential sodium and mineral balance needed for real hydration. In other words, drinking Prime during workouts or intense activity might not actually help much, and that challenged its entire value proposition. The criticism wasn't limited to ingredients. Experts also called out misleading marketing strategies, vague health promises, and poor comparisons with legacy brands. Suddenly, Prime's health-focused messaging seemed more like a gimmick than a grounded claim. For a brand trying to grow beyond hype, that kind of backlash was brutal and hard to recover from. Prime versus BodyArmor, why one got bought and one's crashing. To understand why Prime's dream of $1 billion buyout failed, just look at BodyArmor. BodyArmor didn't explode overnight. It grew slowly and steadily for years, building real market trust. Coca-Cola saw the long-term value and first bought a minority stake, then eventually acquired the entire company. That deal was based on numbers, performance, and product loyalty, not influencer buzz. Prime, on the other hand, tried to shortcut that process. They leaned heavily on celebrity presence, hoping viral content would translate into sales. And while it worked in the short term, it didn't build the kind of reliable growth needed for serious acquisition talks. Prime had no established bottling infrastructure, no consistent scaling model, and most importantly, no proof of long-term customer retention. Investors want more than trending moments. They want proven, dependable growth. BodyArmor showed upward movement every single year. Prime, it spiked, then dropped fast. The difference between the two brands shows why timing, structure, and product integrity matter more than hype. One built a legacy, the other built a spectacle. And when it came time to talk deals, only one of them got bought. The final blow, no identity, no buyers, no future. After all the noise, the promotions, and the viral moments, Prime was left with one critical weakness. It never developed an identity of its own. From the very beginning, the brand was deeply tied to Logan Paul and KSI. Every bottle, every flavor, every launch was built around their faces, their fans, and their online presence. That strategy worked at first, but it meant that Prime never had a chance to grow up and stand alone. When new customers looked at the shelves, they didn't see a trusted hydration brand. They saw a celebrity product, and once the excitement faded, what was left? A drink without a core mission, a drink without a clear target, a drink without staying power. Meanwhile, the influencers behind it were moving on. Logan was launching new brands. KSI was juggling music and boxing. Prime, once the centerpiece of their business empire, started to feel like an afterthought. And with no acquisition in sight, lawsuits stacking up, and sales plummeting, Prime's future no longer looked bright, looked uncertain. Because the truth is, without constant online attention and influencer fuel, the brand struggled to survive in a world that demands long-term value. So here we are. Prime went from viral sensation to a brand struggling to stay relevant. It had all the hype, all the celebrity power, but not enough real staying power. No clear identity, no long-term strategy, and now, no billion-dollar buyout. The drink that once broke the internet is now sitting on clearance shelves. Will it recover? Maybe. But unless there's a serious shift, the Prime era might be ending faster than anyone expected. Have you tried Prime? Do you still drink it? Or did you move on? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you found this breakdown eye-opening. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Until next time, stay smart, stay curious, and stay hydrated.